In a society where social media has made seclusion a premium commodity, the sense of holding on to some items, secret is now mostly forgotten. Many of us have succumbed to the trap in art of thinking that complete transparency is an behave sincere without recognizing it, that we may adopt this transparency. Reversing the unsettling reality is that, even if many people appreciate our accomplishments, aloud, a noteworthy amount might be harboring envy covertly and prepared to use a common piece of data that works against us. Sharing experiences and successes can be a happy and connecting place, yet the boundary between excessive exposure and sharing. Self-subtleness is more prevalent than ever in a time when being discreet isn't merely intellect is not an option but a must, not just in learning new things or attaining noteworthy accomplishments, but also in deciding what belongs in the dark, deciding what to disclose and what to withhold. Self-care goes beyond just self-precaution. It's a privacy protection tactic, becomes a barrier, a secure sanctuary where our ambitions can spread beyond observant observers. This idea is fundamental to contemporary wisdom, seeing that in a hyper-connected world, our tranquility and seclusion is a treasure that has to be fiercely guarded. So what wise individuals do to safeguard themselves, security, peace, and individual growth? Get prepared, since this video will examine the 9 items that a smart individual never divulges to others. If it's your first time, before we get started, a moment on my channel, kindly assist me by approving and subscribing to this video, how I can keep making more content like as this in the future. So let's get going. Together we are on this changing path. You prepared? 1. Financial information, taking a risk. Exploring the subject of financial specifics denotes going into a region where being cautious and discreet becomes your best allies. Speaking candidly about your bank account balance of your wise investments, maybe not as many PR debts as you. Ambitious financial plans for the future as a sincere means of relating to those around you. But this financial, there are hazards associated with openness, obvious and stoic at first look. Philosophers argued for restraint as well as caution in all facets of life, including money at their choice. It was crucial in economic affairs to keep your inner peace and stay away from the perils of greed and jealousy. For instance, according to Seneca, genuine wealth is found in the soul's independence, not found in the gathering of tangible goods. By accidentally disclosing information about your financial circumstances are giving envy more fuel for this harsh emotion, frequently concealed beneath layers of congrats and grins, can undercut partnerships that are becoming mutual regard into covert competition even between close individuals. Individual financial prosperity might be seen as a mirroring their own feelings of insecurity or failures, resulting in harmful analogies. Additionally, in this instance, resentment's discretion is armor rather than merely a safety precaution against these imperceptible dangers. Conversely, discussing debts may be sensitive ground to walk on that reveals difficulties with money, might result in hasty judgments that shape one's self-image. That may not be true, but sharing might bring about some emotions. Alleviation, the price could be too high, influencing how others view and handle. Lastly, our financial plans for the future symbolize our most precious resources and concepts. It might be harmful if introduced too soon, misinterpreted, diminished, or even destroyed. Moreover, Stoics discussed the significance of caution and restraint while handling money. For instance, Epicus stressed the necessity of manage your finances wisely and steer clear of overspending on bending. Keeping private financial information is not that much about concealing facts as much as it is about selecting content to share judiciously. So, defending our financial path against jealousy, frauds, and unsolicited decisions. This latitude is essential for effectively negotiating the two futures of the personal financial globe. Plans. Disclosing future plans resembles opening a book with still unopened pages currently being written. All goals and aspirations are like seeds that, if exposed too soon, it might not sprout behind the judgmental or jealous peer pressure. Disclosing them too soon might result in unwelcome intervention, reducing the impact of surprises, charm, and the influence they have when they eventually blossom. Our reality is one in which other people Opinions frequently carry more weight than ought to be as Stoic thinkers as Marcus. Aurelius emphasized using caution when handling. Our next initiatives are crucial to maintaining, kept under wraps until they're well underway, is a means of keeping our inner tranquility and prevent outside intervention. Comments by outlining your future goals. You are unintentionally attracting a variety of, bringing vitality from the good to the party. There are those who are genuinely poisonous, even with the best of intentions, their personal anxieties and insecurities onto you, doubting or discourage yourself from, before to their opportunity to take. Then there are those who are motivated by envy, or the want to outdo others who would attempt to undermine or outperform your goals with the knowledge that you unintentionally gave. In a perfect world, we would communicate our ambitions without regard to the consequences. But the truth is that although some hope for our triumph, some perceive our ascent as a danger too, their personal belief in their own value. Future plans are not public until they are. Firmly on the road to fulfillment is a method for strength and maintenance. This strategy not only safeguards your ambitions from pointless outside sources, impacts, but also provides you with room to reposition and alter course without the weight of popular opinion, the authority of. Begin by disclosing your accomplishments when appropriate and when not. Prior is an effective instrument for creating a completely personal story. Moreover, there is something satisfying about working silently, letting your actions do the talking, than what you've spoken. This is where the real, behind-the-scenes magic happens, from the limelight from which your schemes may grow and develop unhindered, getting ready to bloom at the ideal moment. In conclusion, safeguarding your future plans is safeguarding the core of your voyage is an expression of confidence in you and your capacity to make dreams come true, into actuality far from the obscurity of misgivings and demotivation from other people. Maintain your focus on the direction of your aspirations and the appropriate moment arrives. Everyone will be astounded by how far you've come with 3 family issues. Handling the family's complications. Issues is similar to walking a tight RPP over a chasm of feelings and anticipations when addressing these difficulties. Outside the personal circle might appear like a search for assistance and comprehension, but frequently results in revealing weaknesses that may be misunderstood or, even worse, abused. Family issues are inextricably linked to rich narratives and powerful feelings being woven into the fabric of our being, forming our identities and relationships with the globe. When these difficulties are, when we are in public, we face the danger of not viewing things from the prism of comprehension, but via glimpses of assessment, morbid interest, or even sensationalism. In addition to the revelation of family issues may provide access to unwelcome and invasive counsel in situations. Every viewpoint might increase the confusion in a complicated family already dynamic. Each family possesses a unique combination of unspoken guidelines, dynamics, and methods of resolve settling disputes and creating well-meaning but frequently insufficient guidance. More of a hassle than a benefit. Even more concerning is the possibility of utilizing these weaknesses in a society where privacy is getting harder to find personal information. Serious family issues might develop, ammo for individuals that possess malevolent plans to manipulate data in order to their own objectives or use acquired, the ability to do damage. Moreover, family exposure in public issues may make the prospect more difficult of reconciliation and resolution within the household. Circle disputes and difficulties nevertheless. Oftentimes possibilities for unpleasant expansion and group power. The healing and solutions frequently originate from the capacity of the family to join forces, overcome obstacles, and develop stronger because of them. Therefore, while in managing family issues discreetly is a courtesy, upholding that sturdy foundation by shielding it from outside storms, and you won't discover except the obstacles resolution, but moreover revived union and fortitude for health. Problems pertaining to health. Conversational problems might appear like an act of confidence and a request for assistance. Yet the truth is that however we divulge information regarding our health needs, cautious, taking health concerns into account, whether mental or physical, bear a significant weight that goes beyond personal influence, but also in their manner of how society views and handles the decision to preserve this data for longer. Being reserved does not mean hiding something, nonetheless a manifestation of self-care and maintenance of individual dignity, as the Stoic philosopher Seneca stated that soul health is the result of the power of the soul itself disclosing well-being. Continuing medical care and diagnosis can provide room for sincere comprehension and assistance, but this, sadly, the same candor may also encourage stigmatization is still a problem. Current health issues in our culture, particularly those that are not well understood or biased when immersed in one's own preconceptions, via stereotypes and misconceptions that result in hasty decisions and isolation in addition to information regarding. When openly shared, personal health information can be used to the individual in social or professional settings, restricting chances or adversely impacting how others perceive and handle them. A careful balancing act between seeking assistance and defense against superfluous vulnerabilities is an additional facet of. Think about privacy in an increasingly information-flowing networked world. Unrestricted privacy has grown in value. Commodity deciding to exchange health. Selecting specifics is another method to keep authority over who can access such personal facets of existence. Control is essential for more than just managing personal well-being, but also to safeguard individual. Selective sharing of autonomy is also possible. The one in charge of the narrative about their well-being, with an emphasis on strengths and advancement as opposed to permitting the circumstance to determine who. To others, they appear as this. Controlling the narrative is essential for psychological health and self-worth, particularly while dealing with health issues. Lastly, when we manage health issues, the choice of how forthcoming we are with. These are very private matters that need to be honored by choosing a limited method is more than simply a preventative tactic, stigma, but rather a declaration that, while our path includes our health, it doesn't characterize who we are, total observance of private. In this case, honoring the human being's complexity and integrity. Go through 5 personal confrontations, negotiating the rough terrain of disputes and conversations on a personal level. Needs not just discretion, but also a significant amount of knowledge as Stoics. As Marcus Aurelius recommended, the greatest of everything is the capacity for discernment, the positive from the negative clearly showing. Disputes and conflicts can emerge in our conversations with coworkers or pals. Coworkers might seem like a need, a lookout for allies, or just a method to deal with our emotions. However, this practice entails the possibility of not just damaging our reputation, but also destroying priceless professional partnerships that we decide to divulge. The private facts of a dispute, whether driven by a need for reassurance, approval, or the requirement for assistance, we unintentionally subject our lives to external evaluations and interpretations. This exposure does not at all ease stress, can make matters more difficult, expanding the battle's sphere of influence beyond the parties that were initially involved. Additionally, by taking individual conflicts too light, we face the chance of being perceived as prone to disagreements or mistakes. This may have a detrimental impact on our repute and validity in the job. Surroundings, especially the knowledge of managing disputes, and it's critical to find a subtle solution. Conflicts and strains with co-workers, when disclosed, can promptly become workplace rumors that feed in a climate of rivalry and mistrust. This degrades the situation in addition to atmosphere inside the company, but also challenges the cooperation and leadership, the participants' very competent, important elements in the working world. Also, by maintaining these disputes, we maintain conversations in secret, bridges with the opposing side that permit for positive remedies and reconciliations to take place outside of the highlights. This strategy, in addition to safeguards current interpersonal connections, it also fosters an atmosphere in which mutual appreciation and comprehension rule over assessment and divide the verdict, to maintain interpersonal disputes and conversations that are hidden from prying eyes. Consequently, a prudential exercise and regard for ourselves as well as for others. This tactic not only enables us to settle disputes more efficiently, but also supports the development and uphold a positive public image, typified by it, and the capacity for manage the intricacies of people, connections that are honorable, and integrity. 6 instances of generosity as a thread across our lives. Generous and kind deeds establish a web of compassion and love that lights up the deepest recesses of human existence, but the fundamental nature of these behaviors don't belong in the look for praise or acknowledgement, but in the authentic and pure manner in which they are executed, as Epictetus said to be true. Being generous is doing the right thing without anticipating anything in return, even acknowledgement. Blatantly disclosing our positive deeds might incongruously decrease their value, changing charitable deeds into cash for social or adoration. Standing real generosity thrives in discrimination. Occurs when we decide to maintain our charitable deeds anonymous. We reaffirm the fundamental idea that aim is to assist, not to be seen to assist. This method not only maintains the respect for the persons receiving it, keeping them from feeling vulnerable or obligated, but also upholds the genuineness of. Our goal is to guarantee that the activity originates from a genuine desire to accomplish good without any hidden agendas. In addition, discretion in charitable deeds is beneficial, being a potent reamer that the worth of a good deed is not diminished by its absence. Conversely, there is an O of witnesses, distinct beauty in being aware of that one. Enhanced the well-being of an individual or a larger purpose without anticipating anything, not even acknowledging this in return. Attitude promotes more in-depth thought about our intentions and strengthens character, showing up not just in public but also, and maybe more crucially in some instances, of anonymity. Maintaining charitable deeds or private charity also shields us the cynicism and mistrust that such acts are only expressive in a progressively world doubtful of the motives. The reason for good deeds choose the root of being circumspect is a rebellious act, opposing the notion that charity requires to be perceived as confirmed as a result by choosing to retain. Despite our charitable deeds, we are not merely maintaining these things' purity activities, while also extending an invitation to more in-depth thinking back on what it really means to assistance. We are expanding the idea of giving without regard to personal gain, elevation, but as a sincere dedication toward fostering others' well-being, a legacy of generosity that, notwithstanding invisible to the naked eye, is boundless, capable in its influence. 7 Adore existence in the enormous human ocean. Relationships and love are like a coral reef bursting with vivid hues and incomprehensible mysteries. Is a very personal facet of being in a sphere with the purest emotions and most profound relationships, but blossoming, heedlessly imparting the specifics of this phase of existence. Not just loses some of its color, but also places its holiest corners there, scrutinized by the public, weakening what makes closeness essential. Unique, safeguarding the secrets of love, life, preserving private times and concealing feelings from inquisitive eyes is not a covert action but a celebration of the holiness of those relationships in a world where ongoing exposure is frequently mistaken with genuineness. In deciding what to save, private is a discerning exercise, with consideration for the fragile nature of strong ties. By maintaining a romantic life, shielded from the spotlights, we stand up for not just our personal susceptibility but also that of our associate. Each public, every social media sharing is a revelation, has the risk of being authentic sentiments into eyewear that is vulnerable to interpretations, remarks, and occasionally unjust verdicts. This needless exposure may put strain on a partnership, placing external demands on a dynamism that ought to be unrestrictedly led only through mutual comprehension and intimacy, in addition to seclusion and affection. Life lets the pair explore and develop and confront difficulties apart from curious glimpses, establishing a secure area for sensitivity in areas where errors are possibilities for learning rather than as food. This defense for rumors against the relationship is strengthened by the outside world, increasing its storm resilience. That might emerge, however, in instances when disputes or splits at the discretion previously selected indicates that it is a blessing. The recuperation process and redefining oneself is a very private matter, even while not being examined closely by public opinion, can happen more genuinely and healthily. Therefore, keeping the specifics of love private Life is a hymn to sincerity and reciprocal regard and recognition that true love grows in closeness apart from. It's a reminder for stages and audiences that is fundamental to the meaning of being, linked to some other entity. The whole cosmos that should be preserved, as the most valuable of 8 hidden thoughts about other people in a globe becoming more and more controlled by the velocity of viewpoints and the promptness of, evaluates the practicality of retaining specific views on other people's secrets are made public, as a priceless virtue freely imparting. Critiques or unfavorable assessments of someone might appear to be acting in sincerity or conformity to reality. Nevertheless, this procedure bears the propensity to sour relations, conflict, and eventually weaken the speaker's personal honesty. The reality is that views of other people are influenced by our personal prejudices and sentimental states. By deciding to maintain these thoughts to ourselves, something we don't actually do, not just tact but also consideration for the intricacy of each person's journey. Making a choice enables us to think more thoroughly about the source of our critiques and acknowledge that what irritates us in others could be an indication of unresolved problems within. Either protecting our own privacy or our critical assessments of other people are as a means of nurturing and safeguarding social and professional relationships. Adjusting the distribution of adverse thoughts might lead to needless disagreements and hostilities, impacting the dynamics of teams and groups via selection. The cautious route we stay away from triggers for disputes and misunderstandings, so solidifying our standing as dependable and responsible people. Moreover, this strategy motivates us to, instead, look for more positive solutions. Instead of making complaints, we might decide to converse openly and directly with the concerned party, providing commentary in a kind and useful way. Such a attitude encourages individual development and the creation of more genuine and robust connections, hence the choice to maintain a negative net energy. Views on the privacy of others is an practice using knowledge and self-improvement. It recognizes that, while the right to free expression exists, influence of our words on the composition of managing human relationships is a duty. It needs to be handled carefully, and thinking about it, it's a decision that shows a thorough comprehension of the significance of harmony and cohesiveness, reciprocal esteem in creating a more comprehension and united communications. Community 9. Spiritual convictions. One method to comprehend the significance of maintaining our spiritual private views is to think on how many social and cultural circumstances might affect how such ideas, for instance, in a certain work or academic settings that are transparent, our connections to certain religions or spiritual procedures may result in prejudices or biases from superiors or co-workers. Epicus and other Stoics promoted living based on virtue and rationality, irrespective of other religious convictions. For them, the core of spirituality was development of character and acceptance of what is outside of our control. Maintaining this, a secret component of their philosophy, enabled them to put their lessons into practice, honestly and without fear of criticism from others. A modern illustration of the significance of adhering to spiritual principles. Private may apply to an employee who incorporates regular meditation practice into of their spiritual being. Even though this practice might have a profoundly impactful, they could decide not to disclose it openly in the office to prevent, in the end, misinterpretations or labeling. Preserving the confidentiality of our spiritual beliefs enables us to live them truthfully, without being concerned about outside view or assessment from third parties. It allows us the flexibility to investigate our spirituality on a close individual basis, without outside assistance. Interferences along our voyage, we, having learned the smarts and techniques of safeguarding not just our tranquility and safety as well as our individual development. I urge you to consider this message. After seeing this film, consider the nature of what you decide to disclose to the. Remember that genuine wisdom is not limited to in the learned content. However, in how we decide to communicate that understanding of the world. If you enjoyed, please like and comment on our video. YouTube is aware that this kind of content benefits users just like you and us. Keep making more videos that are comparable in the future if you're unsure about how to. Comment. Just write that quiet has power. Demonstrate your mastery of our session. Here are 2 additional videos for you to watch. Something you may keep studying in order to. Personal growth. Many thanks until subsequently.